All right. Welcome to the YouTube channel, Ben Kooper. Ben, how we doing?
Doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you coming to us from right now? Where are you at?
I'm at my house at UCLA, just in Westwood, California, just where I usually am.
At UCLA. So Ben, you're a student right now.
Yes, sir.
$500,000 of CUTCO sales, and you're still a student. When did you start? What year?
In July of 2018.
July of 2018. I think you had a 10K fast start,
Correct.
and then a couple weeks later sold $20,000 SC2. And you've won 6 All-American scholarships, but you missed one right away. Is that right?
Not right away, but the second summer,
The
yes.
second summer. What happened that summer?
I just kind of got a little complacent after my first summer. It's like, oh yeah, I don't want to sell during the school year. I'm gonna go have fun and party a little bit. And then I came back that summer when the UCs ended a little bit later than most schools. Got back in June with a lot of rust and no referrals to call, and it was kind of like an uphill battle. I ended up still beating my previous summer. Just missed a scholarship by $50. So
By $50.
a little complacency.
And that was the summer of what year?
Of 2019.
And then the summer of 2020, what happened that summer?
I sold a lot of knives.
Show us the records.
So I ended up selling $132,000 that summer. I currently hold the All-American record, though I'm sure that'll get broken very soon with inflation and everything like that. And then I ended up having a 70K August to pop that off as well.
Yeah. So Ben's here for a lot of reasons. I've looked up to Ben for a long time. And then I heard his podcast. So if you haven't heard his feature on changing lives selling knives, the podcast, I listened to it while I was training for boxing, like doing boxing training. And I was thinking that was tough. And then I listened to a lot of the things that Ben has done. And I would say it inspired me and made me realize how little I was actually doing compared to what Ben was doing. So just some really awesome things. What American Ninja Warrior you've done, ran a marathon. And I would say talking to you for a little bit, you're down to earth guy. So pretty relatable guy, I would say. Explain the $130,000 summer in a nutshell. How did that happen? Like what led to that? What habits led to that? How'd you do it?
Yeah. So after my summer, I missed a scholarship by $50. I basically just said, "There's just no way I'm ever letting this happen again." So with Kubi's advice, I finally started selling during the school year. I got a coach. First coach, name was Matt Foss, a big CSP in the Southwest region. Taught me a lot about life. Taught me a lot of the things I didn't already know, how to really use CUTCO skills to really manage the rest of the aspects of my life when it came to time management, when it came to just personal goals, building personal relationships. And Matt took me from one of the lowest points in my life where I was just not in a good place to one of the highest points. I really sold nothing. I was at negative 4,000 like October for the campaign. Ended up selling about $20,000 in December, and really ended up meeting my girlfriend at the time. That started a really long-term relationship, and just really built my self-worth, my self-image, and my confidence. That spring, ended up doing pretty well. And when COVID happened, I had a choice to make. Either A, I just kind of coast to the finish line, or B, I kind of looked at an opportunity to just go like, everyone's at home. I'm at home. I'm doing nothing right now. There's no spring break. Why don't I just go all out and just go balls to the wall and go for it? So I went all out for the #1 All-American spot against a guy named Michael Oliverio. Unfortunately, I got my butt kicked by that man at the very end. Man was a CSP, been in the business a year longer than me, and knew how to use marketing at the end. And he ended up getting an extra 5 to 10K in orders to beat me out by about $8,000, even though I had a pretty big week to end it. And after that, I was just like, no, there's no way that's ever happening again.
So that was the spring campaign.
That was the spring campaign.
So and by the way, Michael Oliverio has been on the channel. So if you want to learn how to phone and have people not cancel on your demo, find it. Michael Oliverio's on here. But so it sounds like
great.
At the end of the summer when you just missed the scholarship, reach out, you got a coach for the first time. And that kind of changed a lot of things for you, looking at CUTCO a different way. Going into the spring, your goal is to be #1. Mikey beat you a little bit.
Well, it actually wasn't my goal initially, but it ended up being it toward the end when I was like, holy blank. I mean, I could pull this out. So that's what kind of happened the last couple of weeks, actually.
Okay. And then it was COVID summer, and you said nobody's ever beating me again.
Kind of. So that summer, I mean, the goal, so I was also working an internship that summer, about 30 to 40 hours a week online. Very mediocre internship, didn't really learn that much. But I kind of talked to my boss beforehand, Kuval, if you haven't met him, Kuval Patel is West LA manager, district manager. And I'm like, what do you think it's going to take to win us the #1 scholarship this summer? He's like, yeah, probably like 80K. I mean, everything's virtual right now. And I'm like, no, there's no way. He's like, well, Lopes is gone. There's no one here to really compete with. I'm like, it's going to take at least 100,000. So let's just go for 100,000. And he's like, sure, let's do that. So I went on pace for 100,000. I had a $25,000 May. I had about a $25,000 or $20,000 June, I want to say. And then I'm looking at the standings in July, and I'm just realizing that there's this girl, Adriana, I forget her last name, who's just absolutely dominating. She's already at like $100,000 like midway through July. And I look at Kuvi and I'm like, what are we going to, I think she's actually at 85,000, I want to say. I'm like, what are we going to do right here? I'm like, this is going to take a lot more than we thought. So we went to August, and I kind of had a decision to make. It was either I mean, I just settle for second place because she's just kind of dominating the competition. There's actually a couple people that were killing it, or I can just go after it. And I knew it was going to take at least 130K. And I was going into August at like, I think 70 or $63,000. And she had a good like $30,000-$40,000 lead on me. And I kind of had a decision to make. I was like, I can do this. I know I can do this. It's going to be the hardest thing I've ever done. But I'm going to hate myself if I don't go after this. So for the next 4-5 weeks straight, I think 4 weeks in a row, I had my best week ever, 4 weeks in a row. The first week, I believe I sold 10,500. The next week I sold, I believe, 12,500. The next week I sold 17,500. And going into the last week, I was at $100,000. And
What month was this?
This was in August.
This was the August month.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going into the last week, like I have to sell $30,000 if I'm going to win this thing. And going into that last week, I met my new mentor, whose name is Rob Brandt, who taught me how to use some marketing to finish this contest off. He taught me how to use texting base, send some marketing to some past customers that I haven't really leveraged in the past. And my division manager, J. Brad Britton, goes, Ben, you ready for another 20K week? And I'm like, no, J. Brad, we're going to do $30,000. I'm going to win this thing.
So pause. Any new rep who's listening to this, if you can't even fathom, let's just take a moment. He's talking about a $30,000 week, right? My first summer, I feel like I had a pretty good summer. I think I was top 3 in our division. I sold $32,000 that summer, and I was on top of
it was 38.
So we're talking about a $30,000 week. This is coming after a 10K week, a 12K week, a 17K week. So in this, mind you, this is after Ben was looking at the standings, seeing that, oh my gosh, Adriana is whooping me right now. And it sounds like that was that decision point where it was like, well, he could cave, or he could find that next level that he didn't even know existed yet. And sounds like he found it to this point. And then how'd the week finish?
So I'll be honest with you. I mean, then I went into that week. I didn't have a number of demos it was going to take. I didn't have a number of I did the math. The math didn't work out. The math didn't make any sense. I had to do like 150 demos or something crazy that was not possible in a week. And I just said, screw the numbers. It's going to happen. So I just said, I'm going to go all out. I will do as many demos as I physically can in this given week. I took a few days off my internship that I planned in the past, and I went for it. And going into the last day, I was at $20,000 for the week. And I woke up the next morning and said, I'm going to sell $10,000 today. And Kuvi's had every single person in the division basically texting me like, Benny, you're about to do this. You're about to kill this. You're about to do this. And I don't know what happened, but in the span of that day, I had 2 set orders. And I think my second to last demo, the lady's like, no, I don't want that signature set. I actually want 2 homemakers, and 20 steak knives and this and that. And it was a $3,000, $4,000 order. Still like $5,000 behind. And I'm finally using my marketing. It's the end of the day. I got nothing else to do. So I'm just calling all these people that said they were interested. And I called this lady at least 15 times in the weekend. Finally got a hold of her. She buys a second ultimate set for her next house.
Wow.
I call this lady 20 different times. At 10 o'clock at night, she finally answers the phone and says, Ben, you are so persistent. You know that? And I'm like, yes, what do you want? And she goes, I don't know, Ben. I got so much CUTCO. I'm like, you want some gift sets? She's like, sure. And she ends up placing, I think, 4 or 5 gift sets, which basically put me over the edge. And when it was all said and done after some craziness, it was a 30K week. But it gets crazier because the standings the next day showed me and Adriana basically tied by like $12. She had the lead by $12, I'm pretty sure. But it gets crazier because the next week standings come out and my CPO rises and hers falls $3,000. But it gets even crazier because she's actually disqualified because she's not a college student. So after everything that happened that entire month, that entire summer, because she took a quarter or a semester off because of COVID, she would not have qualified for the scholarship anyway. Next guy below is at 110,000.
So you whooped it. I mean, you wow. Okay.
I don't even know if you knew that part of the story, but like it was
I don't think I did. I don't think I knew that. Wow. So you came in August behind Adriana, and you just absolutely stepped on the gas. This reminds me of, I don't know if you know the miracle equation, like Hal Elrod's miracle equation.
I love that story from Hal Elrod. It kind of just happens.
Dude, I think about like at the end of every great push, at the end of every great fast start, we had a guy in our division his goal was 10K. He came into yesterday at $4,000, and throughout the day, miracle equation, this dude never gave up, and at 11:30 hit 10K. Just like your summer, like 30K week, same thing, just did not give up your foot on the gas, and it just happens. Your story obviously is the course of a summer, course of a month, a crazy month that you have the record for now. Show it again. But I feel like that's such a metaphor for I feel like that's such a metaphor for any push period, any fast start. So Ben, if you were talking to a rep that they're in the middle of a big push or they're preparing for a big push, for example, right now we have the winter break pushes coming up in a couple of days. What kind of tips would you have for that person of like leveraging that miracle equation until the finish line, and getting the most out of it?
Yeah. So there's about 4 or 5 things I would say that are just part of that miracle equation. And 2 of them are some of the first things you're taught in training. The first thing that my manager Kaval said to me, I don't know if every manager says this, that you will be successful at this job if you have 2 things. If you have a positive attitude and you have a good work ethic. That's it. And that's true. But when I say to be successful for the miracle equation, you need a positive attitude, I mean an unceasing positive attitude. And when I say a work ethic, I mean an unceasing work ethic. Now, I don't mean a positive attitude like before your demo, like, oh, I'm going to kill this demo. It's going to be great. I'm so excited. And the demo goes poor. Like, this job sucks. I hate this. I hate going to this next demo. And then you hype yourself 5 minutes for the next one. No, you need to have that positive attitude during every second of every day and have that constant belief that you will succeed, you can succeed, and you have what it takes to succeed. And when it comes to an unceasing work ethic, it is committing to what you set out to do. Now, I wouldn't advise anyone to do what I did. I didn't even look at the number of demos I needed to complete because it wasn't possible for me. That's not realistic. I mean, if you're going to be realistic, you got to commit to the number of demos it takes to achieve your goal. Because usually when you do your number of demos, that's how the miracle equation usually ends up working, because the numbers always work themselves out. So you got to, no matter how you're feeling in a given day, if you committed to a 10K push, you committed to 40 demos, 50 demos, 60 demos. Do your 60 demos no matter what. I don't care if you get sick. I don't care if something crazy happens. If you were committed to the push and something life-threatening doesn't happen to you or your family, you have to make it happen. And if you're not willing to do so, the miracle equation is just not going to happen. It's just not.
So
Crazy things don't happen to average people.
So number one, an unceasing, is that the word? Positive attitude, unceasing work ethic. I remember my 8th grade football coach would always say, the 2 things you can control, same with CUTCO, same with 8th grade football, same with life, attitude and effort. That's it. You can only control attitude and effort. So that's number one. That's the first leverage point of the miracle equation. What's number 2?
Well, I would say that's 1 and 2, I would say.
1 and 2.
So
okay.
Positive.
Okay.
Exactly. Number 3 is just managing your time. I call it leveraging your planner. Now, I'm a big pen and paper person. And my planner is actually right behind me at this moment right now. But here's the thing: if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So it doesn't matter if you say like, oh yeah, I'm going to commit to 60 demos. Cool. When are you going to do them? I don't know. Like if you don't know, it doesn't help you. So the key to doing to committing to a push is also making sure that you know how you're going to do it. So you got to plan out your week. You got to figure out when you have things that you can't change. We call it the boulders, the things you can move, like the talk in church, school, whatever you got going on, things that you can't move. You can move the next being the rocks, the times you work out, the times you spend time with family, spend time with friends. You don't have to give that up for a push. You don't have to. You can if you want to. I somewhat did, but not completely. And then figuring out when you can put your demos in. And if you look in your schedule and you see that you don't have enough room for all the demos you want to hit and all the phone time you need, because you can't forget the phone time, then one of 2 things needs to happen. Either A, you need to reassess your goal, or B, you need to reassess your schedule and figure out what you can change, what you can move, and how much less sleep you're willing to get, and figure out a way to make it happen. So that's the third biggest key, is just figuring out the how, because if you don't know the how, the goal is never going to happen.
Time management 2.0. And put the boulders in first. Put the boulders in first. Okay, number 4.
Number 4. Now I kind of came with these on the hip, so
that's right. Maybe there was
number 4 was going to be work ethic, positive attitude, managing your schedule. I'm going to say mental health. I'm going to say is really important, because here's the thing: you may think that you can go all out for 10 days, 12 days, 2 weeks, a month, a campaign, whatever it is. You can't. I'm sorry. You're going to burn out. Something's going to happen. You're going to break. I don't care how strong you are, how strong you think you are. If you think that you are just the biggest rock in the history of this world, you are not unbreakable, because sales will break you. CUTCO will break you. It breaks each and every one of us. But the thing is, it doesn't have to. Because it doesn't have to break you if you don't let it. And what I mean by that is you got to find the things in life that keep you going and keep you positive and keep you happy. For me, that's rock climbing, that's running, and that's also spending time with my friends, even if it's just a phone call. When I'm at night and I finish a big day and I have time, about like 20 minutes to FaceTime my girlfriend. I mean, that got me through a lot of hard days. And then I get to run, and then I get to rock climb. I don't take those out of my schedule when I have a push. I still rock climbed every other day. I still ran every other day as well. Because if I didn't do those things, I would go insane. And I wouldn't have the motivation to do the actions I needed to succeed. So figuring out what you need, because we're all different, what you need to not go insane, and making sure those are prioritized on your schedule as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so valuable. I think about, so for you, it sounds like it was rock climbing, running, talking to your girlfriend at the end of the day. Those were the 3 things for you. I remember during my branch summer, when I ran a branch with CUTCO, the days that I worked out and ate dinner with my family, those 2 things, no matter how many hours I worked in the day, if I did those 2 things, I went to bed feeling good, feeling fulfilled. But when I missed those things, one of the 2 things, that's where like the burnout can catch you. So I think that's so valuable, especially if someone here is going for a really big push. It's like, you don't put demos over your workout time. Don't put demos over your meals. Like that stuff is really valuable, and you'll show up differently to your demos anyway. Was there one more big tip?
One more big tip. And it's, in fact, in my opinion, the most important tip.
Here we go.
And that is your why. because I don't care how strong you are, how tough you are. If you do every other one of these 4 things I told you, if your why ain't strong enough, you're going to get knocked down each and every day. And what I mean by that is, like, there needs to be a reason why you're going after this push, this campaign, this year. And there might need to be a few reasons. In fact, sometimes our manager has us write down 50 reasons why we want to hit this goal. There can be 3 main ones, but there has to be a lot of really important reasons why you want to hit it. Or you're not going to. Because when your friends say, hey, let's go party, you're going to go party and you're not going to phone. Or when you're like, oh my God, I'm so tired, I don't want to wake up for phone time, you're not going to wake up for phone time. You're not going to wake up for the champions chat at 8 a.m. with your manager when you go on and watch some videos and how to succeed and how to be better at your job. You're just not going to do it. Your why is everything. Now, my why, I honestly am not sure. I kind of knew my why that summer. My why that summer was I wanted to be the #1 All-American. I wanted to be the best college sales student of all time. Because I knew I could be the best, and I wanted to prove to myself that I could be the best at something because I never had been in my entire life. That was mine, and that was strong enough for me at the time. You got to find a why that's strong for you. It can't be like, oh yeah, I just want to make $5,000. Like, sure, that's cool, but is that really going to get you up every morning? Is it? For some people, it could be. I mean, maybe you're just really money motivated, but it's more like I need to make $5,000 so I can save for college. Otherwise, I'm going to graduate with a ridiculous amount of debt. And that $5,000 is going to mean I have like 50,000 less in debt because of all the interest. Cool. That's a great one. Maybe it's a certain number of years off the debt. But whatever it is, like, you need to have a strong enough why that's more than just the money, or more than just the fame, or more than just whatever it is going to get you. It could be a part of it, but it can't be the whole thing. Otherwise, it's just not going to get you through.
So much value within that answer. A strong whys can be everything. When Ben was talking, I was writing a couple things down. Money, I say this to everybody that works in our office. Money, it just can't be your why, because you can make a paycheck anywhere. Every job is hiring right now. You could truly make money anywhere. And there's a lot more places you could put your brain on a shelf for X amount of hours and just take the paycheck and go. So if it is money, it has to be connected to something. So I remember for me going into 2020, I had a great call with my manager about my January push, and we knew X amount of dollars in CPL would lead to X amount of money I made, which X amount earned. And I knew by the end of that year, I would be able to buy a house with money tied all the way back to that January push. Your managers can do that with you. You have to just sit down, and you first have to get clear about, like, what are the things you want. The last thing I'll add to that answer is customers buy your why. So when you are super clear on what your why is, and you share that with your customers, they enroll in that so quickly, because it's so rare for someone to be that passionate about a goal or a purpose, especially a student. People will straight up buy from you because they want to see you hit that. And that matters a ton. So yeah. Did you have any last thing to add to that, Ben?
Yeah, I guess the last thing I'm going to add is pushes are worth it. Like, I know it's a lot of things I I can be a very intense person at times, and I just am, but like, pushes are worth it because they turn you into someone just so much better than you were when you went into it. They really, if you thought you had a positive attitude, wait till you finish your push. If you thought you had a great work ethic, wait till you finish your push. Even if you're not strong in any of those categories, if you can at least focus on your why, it will strengthen the rest of those categories for you.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate you hopping on, Ben. Could not be more true. To anyone going out and pushing big. I had back to back 20K pushes, and I will tell you, they never look like how you think they're gonna look. Ever. It never looks like how you plan it. So embrace that. Ben Kooper, thanks for hopping on. What's next for you? Running a branch next summer?
Next for me, we'll see. Honestly, at the moment, I'm gonna go for breaking my own record for the spring campaign, going for over 100K campaign. Hopefully, my last All-American, and then hopefully I'm gonna see if I might run a branch this summer and go to graduate school, and we'll see from there. Not sure what I'm doing.
Future's bright no matter what it is. Thanks for hopping on. We'll see you next time. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, move it, pass it. There we go. All right. We'll see you, Ben.